Hi folks, I'm going to tie this fly for you the other night. I actually meant to tie it yesterday but I got sidetracked. This here is the Midas fly. The reason I'm tying this is because I was at Hairlaw on Saturday. I was a guest for Ness Glen Angling Club and a great day. Hairlaw's a very very good water as well, and so you should definitely give it a try. Ross, who's the boy that runs Halo as well, Ross Murdoch, is a gentleman too, so definitely worth a visit. I've done a lot of work this year on it as well, so 10 out of 10 for that. So it's a really really good trout water. So the reason I says there I'm tying the Midas fly is because there's a few fish on it on Saturday, and I'm going to be tying it on a size 12 Kamasan B175. Kamasan B175. The thread I'm using is a black uni thread, 8 and all. As I say, I was was a guest on Saturday, and I started off with the kind of usual no usual, but the kind of washing line technique. I had a floating line on. I had a blob in the tail, and 2 or 3 wee nymphy flies. I did that one for about an hour and it wasn't working, so the boy was with Gavin. We ended up moving up into the bay before Windmill Bay, and we're in there for about 40 minutes and we rumbled a couple of fish, but a wee hatch come on, and I'm not quite sure what it was, to be honest. I thought it was some sort of kind of olive hatch or something, so I tried my methods and I went to had the floating line still on, and I went to, I don't know why I actually done it, because I had a wee epiphany, I suppose. Anyway, what I did was I put a grinter on my bulb flea, and I put an emerger in my tail, and I put this fly I'm going to tie here, a claret Midas, on the bob flea, which the claret Midas sits just subsurface. So you take your thread down to you take the thread all the way around the curve in this. So take your thread all the way around the curve, and for your rib you can use any leader line. I use this all draining stuff at 6 pun. Doesn't have to be a certain punnage you're in, you can use any. As I say, so take a few inches off it, snip off, tie it in as your rib, because this is your rib. Just tie that in. I say I first came across the Midas fly was a few ago now, like, but I'm sure I seen an article or something, or I read some, I can't mind which it quite was. And I'm sure it was Ian Barr or something. I'm sure that he'd won a prestige competition. I don't know if it was the Worlds or he won some kind of prestige competition. I'm sure he had most of his fish in the Midas fly, the claret Midas, I think it was. So, but this is the one I tied. I've tied it a few different colours. It's actually a fiery brown and a dark claret mix. And all I did was just take a few pinches of each in and put it into a coffee grinder and gave it a wee blast to make my own dubbing. As I say, when I first came across this fly, it was a few years ago now, and I'm sure I had bought five it was after the internet, and I loved it that much. I ended up using them when you kind of sell use low shin or two or that, or you give one to somebody or something. I was doing to my last flea, and a competition coming up, and this was before I'd started tying. So I got in touch with Dave McPhail, and the gentleman he managed to wrestle me up. I can't remember when it was, 10 or 12 or some, few different sizes, and it was the dark claret Midas. And I definitely have to give him a wee shout out as well, because if it wasn't for Davey's videos and his YouTube videos, I wouldn't be quite able to tie half the flies I can tie just now. So you should really give, especially for any young tyers or any just starting out tying. I watched him religiously for a year solid when I first started tying. Absolutely brilliant. In my eyes, he's probably the best flea tyer that I've seen anyway. And a gentleman into the bargain as well. Absolute lovely fella. And also a Demelton boy as well. But as I say, Davey tied me up some fleas, and I've never got them off my cassie, especially summer months. is you can fish them dry, or I like to fish them subsurface, is which I did the other day there. As I say, I like to just sit it in that wee film just underneath the top of the water. So I've put on some dubbing here, and all you do is take your dubbing through. You'll know what this to be dubbed on and wound on too tightly. I say, because what you do is, if you do it too tightly, it's your own preference, like, but this fly's better fished rough, if you get what I mean, loose. To be more dubbing on my thread. This is all dubbing to. I've lost my wee gidgeon. I don't know if they bloody stupid huskies of mine are banana, but they sneak into my room and they fucking nightmare. Beth informed me the other day that they come into my room and they stole a couple of hackles and bloody she came in for work and there was feathers everywhere. Nightmare. So I'm just putting a wee bit more dubbing onto my thread here. So you wind on. A bit extra. Din this dubbing, I think it's no, but it's all I've got to do to get different stuff. I'm going to take a wee pinch, wind it on. We'll get there. Right, so wind down again, and you're always better off making the thorax that wee bit bushier, just to give it that kind of life look, as a beastie would have. A few more turns on the thorax area. So you want this flea to be rough and bushy and stuff. So you take a wee Velcro. For Christ's sake. Yeah, I'll do it. Right, take your rib up through. Doesn't have to be perfectly spaced. Usually do about 4 turns, one at the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4. Tie that in. And you can put legs on it if you want, it's your own preference if you're going to be fishing. Dry fly version, I like to put legs on it or whatever, but it really is your own preference. So tie that in, just tie that up. And my wee Velcro brush here, I'm just going to brush it out even more. It kind of looks rough, but this is what you want. You want this flea to be, for all the fibres to come out through the ribbon, and just pull them back. That's how you want that to sit. So I think I'll put some legs on it. It's up to yourself. You can put 4 or 6 on, or many you like, to be honest, but I'll put 4 on just to show you the way it looks with some legs. I say this fly really is, especially summer months, it really is a very good pattern. I fished the tied a version last year. It was a 2-tone Midas, which was a fiery brown and claret, fiery brown in the back half, and then a claret, dark claret, sorry, in the front. So we've got some legs here just now anyway. Just put them in there, just to come to the back of maybe just beyond the back of your hook there. Just tie them in. Again, I was saying there, I fished it at Belston last year, and I'm not kidding, absolute deadly. Fish were hammering it. So it really is a good pattern to have in your ammo. Just trim them off. And in the Midas, you for the wings or whatever you can call them, it's cheeks or whatever they represent. You take the pheasant tail, and you need three strands for each side. Just trim that off. 1, 2, 3. There's a wee, in the pheasant tail, certain bits, there's a wee black bar. I like to just tie it. Take your pheasant tail, fibres along the side of the hook, and you want this to come maybe just shy of the back of your hooks. Again, it's your own preference. I've seen some been away at this length here, or some too long. I don't like them too long, but again, it's your own self-preference. So tie them in, 3 that side and 3 on the opposite side. That's 4. To separate that. Tie this in along the side as well. You should stick in, there we go, separate it now. Show you in a wee second how they look when you see it head on. Just say it really is a cracking fly. Especially colours, I'm a big believer of any kind of flies that a fiery brown colour, claret colour, especially brown trout. I just think that it's a fishy colour. You always seem to do well in any kind of coloured patterns. But with this fly you can tie bibio. I've tied a few bibio patterns with it as well. Same again, obviously just the dubbing with black dubbing, red body, black dubbing, exact same again. So for the head tackle I'm going to use just a cheap brown hen. You're better off with hen for the head tackles, I think, because they give you the softer hackles and they give you that wee bit more movement in the water. So I'm just going to pick a feather off here. Trim the fluff off the bottom. Tie that in. A few turns to lock. Trim off the wee stem. Your hackle pliers, again, you can use your fingers, but these wee hackles, I think it's footery, so I always use my hackle pliers. Just get a wee twist. And all you really need is a couple of turns, just to give the impression of the hackle, for that wee bit of movement. So 1, 2, see what else. I think I'll get an extra one. I'll get 3 this time, and then catch that in. Again, you can put it, or you can snip it with your scissors to be safe, and just put the fibres back. And I see this pattern really is. I like 12s. I think 12's the best all round size for brown trout anyway. But also 10s and even bigger too, I suppose. So lastly, I tie in this gold Globrite stuff. I actually bought a pack. You can get it off eBay. You got all different colours on it. I don't know if you can see that there. I'm not sure how many colours there is, but there is plenty of colours in. I'm sure it was only about £6, and they really do add that wee bit of extra to your fly sometimes when it's needed. So just take a pinch. Oh, before I take a pinch, you need to add some dubbing wax to your thread. So this is all stuff, it's not by its best. Nothing to do the job of the note. So on there, here by accident. So again, take a wee pinch of your gold and just tie that into your thread. Rub that into your thread even. You'll not want too much, because I think too much it can make it look the fly untidy. I just want enough, just to 2 or 3 turns there, just to give the sparkle and the heat. It's maybe differences that sometimes make the difference in your day's fishing. It's that wee sparkle. So especially like my local syndicate, I absolutely love this fly up there. It's great. So I'll just pinch off the excess here. Maybe turns there just to tie it in. And take your thread through a couple of turns. And then tie off a few turns. I like to angle my fly because I use my fingers to do the knot there. 3-4 turns. Yeah, to be safe, I'll use the bit of this. to catch it and put it up. And that's it. That's the Midas fly. As I say, it's up to you. Dark claret. That's my favourite. Absolute thousands of fish with the dark claret version. And then lastly, you just varnish to finish. But it really is a top fly. And if again, it's up to yourself. I've fished it below the surface. I've fished it in an intermediate line, but the deadliest was probably I was fishing it fly, and I'm sure it was a variation of the big red. I'm sure it was something to do with that. I read that this fly, this is where it came from. As a big red was the thought behind it, and they come up with the Midas fly. Don't quote me but I'm sure that's something I read. But I really do love it, and I'm sure if you tie this fly and you have it in your boats, you will catch fish with it whenever you go, especially wild browns. But it works for anything stocked, still waters, and your rainbows as well. Any of the things. But there you go, that's it. That's your Midas fly. And if I show you this one, I don't know if you can see it. It's proportion and it's frame, as I say. But there you go, that's it. That's the Midas. So you can tie the fly in all sizes. You can tie different variations of it, bibio or thingy, fiery brown, claret, dark claret. But that's it there. That's your Midas fly. As I say, you can add the legs or you can leave them without. But what I also do is as well is a wee bit of Velcro. Just watch you don't pull any of the legs off when you do this. Just be kind of careful. Just get a wee light rub through. Just bring the fibres of the dubbing through. And so you want this fly to be bushy, to be rough. And they say before you fish, you should always get a wee rub on your Velcro patch in your jacket or something. So there you go. Hope you liked it. That's the Midas fly. And this colour here is a fiery brown and dark claret mixed. Cheers.